homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Respected to the most venerable Dr. Pramahachanya Sutiyano, the abbot of Wat Puttapanya, and respected to most venerable Dr. Pramaha Narinto, and also humble to greeting to the Pramaha Vacharin Akakari, and also greeting to all the monk friends and also all the Upasok Upasika. So let's begin with the chanting of the Buddhist chanting from different Buddhist traditions. Mahakaruniko Natho Tathagata Bhagwan Buddha Pacceka Buddha Arahanta Bodhisattva Bharatratana Bodhisattva Baba Sahib Dr. Biyambika Namo Buddhaya Namo Dhammaya Namo Sanghaya Jepim Sangke Shodang Shokki Shoknam La Sangcho Bado Dakni Kapso Che Dangke Chinso Kepe Sonam Ki Dola Pensi Sangke Dupa Sho Simche Namke Shampa Dang Lo Che Chita Chita Wa Se Sung Thot Mong Thek Pai Shokki Kholo Khondo So Namo Bong Sư Thích Ca Muni Phật Om Mani Padme Hum. So today I'm gonna talk about the Sangha, or in Thai word we call Sangha, but I will let you to know the Sangha from the Tibetan Buddhism point of view is my different from your idea that you have been knowing or studying from the past. And we can compare what the meaning of the Sangha really is with the Theravada terms also. So I don't think something is very different from the Theravada Buddhist tradition and Tibetan or Mahayana Buddhist tradition. And let's see, in the Tibetan Buddhism, or we call Vajrayana, the term Sangha hold a deep multi-layer meaning that extend beyond the traditional monastic order. It represents a living community of spiritual compassion dedicated to inner transformation and the liberation of all sentient beings. So it might a little bit different, but yeah, some specific that we can see, we can learn that from here. The Tibetan Buddhism, they are practicing for for the liberation of all sentient beings. So this is the idea that quite different from Theravada. Not right or not wrong, but I just try to explain how different, because the motivation is different. And normally Theravada, they want to achieve Arahanta, and it doesn't mean the Theravada don't have the idea to become a Buddha. The Theravada term and Theravada text, we still have the idea to achieve or to be a Buddhahood also. That we call the practicing of 10 paramita or 10 perfection. The way to become a bodhisattva or to become a bodhisatta in Pali word we call bodhisatta. But in Sanskrit we call bodhisattva. Right? But I understand that all the Theravada monks, if I'm not wrong, they are emphasize, try to achieve to be a Arahant. They doesn't want too much to be the Buddha, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, we have some Buddhist monk in Thailand, in the past that I heard. They are practicing, or many people, understand him as a Bodhisattva monk. One of the Thai monks, very well known, Luang Po Thuat. Many people say that he is a Bodhisattva. Luang Po Thuat เป็นพระโพธิสัตว์ or หลวงปู่ทวด or we can say grandfather of หลวงพ่อทวด he like a Bodhisattva. Yeah. And if you see the name, the title name of the king, of the Thai king, from the Ayutthaya period, and probably maybe from the Sukhothai period also. And the title name, the name of the king is mentioned a lot of things about the Bodhisattva more than Arahant. Yeah. So something is quite very look different, but doesn't mean how I can say that. Something look similar, look different, but doesn't mean there are different things between Theravada and Mahayana. If we look in it deeply, something close, And let's see the etymology and Tibetan translation. Sangha, in Sanskrit we call Sangha. In Tibetan word we call Ganden. If I'm not wrong, I'm sorry for the Tibetan friends. If I not pronounce correctly. So Sangha mean refer to an assembly, community, or gathering. Yeah. And in Tibet, we call Ganden. So gain that means virtue or goodness, wholesome or constructive intent, aim to spiritual enlightenment, and done aspiration, intent, a firm determination or longing. Literal meaning the intention of virtue, a community of individuals united by the common goal of attaining liberation and benefit others. This is the meaning of the Sangha. We have to understand clearly. We have to understand the meaning of the Sangha. Because why? Because the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. This is our refuge. We take refuge for the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. We know already who is the Buddha, why the Buddha is very important. We know already the Dhamma, but many times, I'm not so sure many Thai people understand or really understand about the Sangha or not. When we're talking about the Sangha, they might think, maybe four of monks, that means Sangha. If we have 4 months, that means Sangha. But actually, the meaning of the Sangha is very deep and very vast. Okay, let's see more about the Sangha. The level of the Sangha in the Tibetan tradition. Tibetan Buddhists characterize the Sangha into 2 district levels. This is very important to know that. The first group of the Sangha we call relative or conventional Sangha. You may heard the relative truth or conventional truth, but this is also, we use this name for explain about the Sangha, that we call relative or conventional Sangha, or relative level, I can say that. Monastic community, ordained monks or bhikkhus and non-bhikkhuni who hold vows and maintain the monastic discipline, or we call Vinaya. Alright. A lay practitioner, Ngakpa, non-monastic practitioner, including yogi, we call Ngakpa, Ngakpa, or Ngakmo female, Ngakpa is man, and every lay devotee who activity, study and practice the Dharma together. So this is the one of level of the Sangha we call relative or conventional Sangha or relative level, right? So let's see, when we're talking about Sangha from this point of view, that means Tibetan Buddhism include the lay practitioner into the Sangha also, into the into the monastic community also, because some Buddhist tradition may not include the lay people into the Sangha, but Tibetan Buddhism include lay practitioners, even lay people to the Sangha also, if they have the aim, to practice, to accumulate merit, whatever about good thing, that they try to do that. That means they also belong of our Sangha, And I heard many times, most venerable Dr. Pramahajanya, he always told us that lay people also can include to our Sangha. I heard many times. If I'm wrong, I'm very sorry. And second is ultimate or Arya Sangha, ultimate level. It's very supreme level or high level. Arya in Thai word mean Arya or พระอริยะ หรือสังฆะของพระอริยะ Ultimate or Arya Sangha, ultimate level. Arya beings, practitioner, whether lay or ordained, doesn't matter. When we're talking about Arya Sangha or ultimate Sangha, doesn't mean focus on only Buddhist monk or nun, not like that, but only mention about Arya being who are very good practitioner, achieve some state level, some high level about Buddhist practice. So we can call that kind of person is Arya beings, or they belong to Arya Sangha, or ultimate level. So when we're talking about Arya being practitioner, whether lay or ordained, who have directly realized emptiness, shunyata, and overcome the fundamental illusion of the realities. And second is advanced bodhisattva, highly realized spiritual master who are bound by supreme compassion to guide others toward enlightenment. And let's see, third unique characteristic of the Tibetan concept. As we know that we have the three jewels, or we call Trai Sarana. ภาษาไทย mean ภาษาไทยเรียกว่าไตรสรณคม So that we have Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. In Sanskrit we call Dhamma, but in Pali we call Dhamma. Okay, that's the same thing. And let to summarize about the Sangha. We have conventional Sangha and Arya Sangha, right? Conventional Sangha that we call that mean monastic lay practitioners, Vajrayana brother and sister, and for the Arya Sangha, realize master or high bodhisattva, that can be Mahasiddha, can be very, what we call enlightened person or enlightened people. This is for the Arya Sangha. So let's see more information. So Vajrayana kinship, or we call Kalyana Mitta, the Vajrayana brother, Vajrayana sister, practitioner who share the same spiritual lineage or empowerment, Abhishek, Abhishek. Regard one another as secret family members, bow to support each other's spiritual growth without conflict. So, when we become the member of the Sangha, especially many times the Vajrayana Sangha mention and try to emphasize that if we are same the Sangha, we are Vajrayana brother and Vajrayana sister. We are sister and brother. I can say that. And no conflict. We come and practice and live peacefully, and we share the loving kindness together. Many times, many Tibetan masters or who follow Tibetan Buddhism, they try to emphasize no fighting, no conflict in our Sangha. We may not have some different understanding, or we may mistake something, but doesn't mean we are fighting, we have a conflict. It's really important to know that, because it is the value level of the Kalyana or spiritual friend, I can say that. And let's see, the Bodhisattva idea, rather than focusing solely on individual liberation. Alright, because the Sangha in Tibetan Buddhism include the idea of Bodhisattva, and they are not focusing only individual liberation. That we know already, because they are trying to exchange of Bodhisattva or the Buddhahood. And even now, some Theravada also, I have known one Taiwanese. He was a Burma before, but he came to Taiwan and he received the Bodhisattva Sila or Bodhisattva vow. But he is a Theravada, but he practiced Bodhisattva vow and he practiced the Bhikkhu Patimoksha too. It's very amazing, right? So, but this kind of thing that happened already in India, if we study deeply in India, about Indian Buddhism, we might have seen some monks who live in the same temple, but they have very different idea to practice. But they can live together. Some monks may want to be Arahant, some monks want to be Bodhisattva, some monks want to be Buddhahood, right? Depend on motivation, depend on our capacity, Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Because something in our practice, something that sometimes very individual, Something can be in the Sangha, can sharing, but something very individual thought or individual practice. So let's see, in Tibetan Buddhism, the Sangha or Kandan is both your outer support system, compressing monastic, fellow practitioner, and spiritual companion, and your ultimate inner guide embodied by realized Arya being who directly preserve the true nature of reality. So, I will let you know to understand one more thing. Some people, some lay practitioners, because right now I heard some of lay people say that, some of them say, we don't need a Buddhist monk, we don't need it. Yeah, only Buddha, Dhamma, and that's it. But I will talk to you or share to you that something mistake. Why the Sangha is essential for monastic life, and why the Sangha is essential for non-monastic lay people. And let's talk about why the Sangha is essential for non-monastic lay life, lay life. So even in Tibetan tradition, the concept of Sangha extend deeply into lay life too, through non-monastic practitioners, yogi or ngakpa, and everyday devotees. Access to guide and spiritual teachers for lay people, balancing family, career, and daily stress, the Sangha. Particularly realized teacher Lama and Rinpoche with the Sangha provide direct instruction on how to transform daily hardship into spiritual practice. Without guidance of the Sangha, lay practitioner would lack access to alternatives, Dharma, teaching, and initiation. So we need the Sangha, we need Buddhist monk or even lay people to guide, or ngakpa, to guide people, to know how to live peaceful lives, to know that how is, learn how to be calm and generate loving kindness and compassion. Why that kind of thing to do that is so important for everyday life, So because of that, we need the Sangha, right? And you can know, we can observe that, our mission for the benefit of being sentient being is very big work, So we cannot do only individually person. You cannot do only one person, We need Sangha. And I confirm that we need Sangha, and Sangha means the community of, the Sangha means spiritual community, and not directly or not, something about, when we're talking about Sangha, please understand, the Sangha is not about organization. The Sangha is not about bureaucracy, something that under control too much from the state. It's very mistake, องค์กรสงฆ์or สังฆะไม่ใช่ระบบราชการ not the bureaucracy. Please understand that. องค์กรสงฆ์ไม่ใช่ organization ไม่ใช่องค์กร ไม่ใช่ เราเรียกว่าชุมชนทางจิตวิญญาณ or spiritual community. Yeah. Please understand clearly. Otherwise, we are lost to understand about the fundamental Buddhist practice. Yeah. And please come back to the Buddha time, right? When something happened in the Sangha, when some monk did something wrong, the Buddha let lay practitioner to decide how to solve that problem. The Buddha never call, state or police or the king, who support the Buddhism. The Buddha, even many king Pimpisana, King Pasentikosala, and many great king and those of king have a lot of power, but the Buddha never call them, never invite them to solve the problem in Buddha Sasana or solve the problem in the temple. The Buddha lets the Vinaya, run, and let the people, the lay practitioner, come to join and solve the problem, because we are same company. We are Buddha Bodhisattva or Buddha company or Buddha Sasana company. We can say that. So, if we understand that, we are not mistake and we know how to do in the right way. All right. So then, in the classics analogy of the three jewels is very important, right? The Buddha, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha is very important. And in Tibetan Buddhism, no practitioner, monastic or lay is expected to walk to the path to enlightenment alone. It's very important to understand about the Tibetan way. For monastic, the Sangha is the container that preserves ethic, vow, and secret knowledge. For non-monastic, the Sangha provides spiritual direction, a community of mutual support, and direct link to the living wisdom of the Buddha teachings. So, if every Buddhist tradition come along together, not only, if we learn to practice, if we learn to understand the Dharma, we will helping together. We not let anyone walk alone on the Buddhist practice. Yeah. During our journey, our spiritual journey, we are on the way. We are not achieved. We are not already enlightened being, enlightened person. So we on the spiritual path. We on the spiritual path. We on the way. So because of that, we need good friend. We need Kalyana We need spiritual friend. That the Buddha already mentioned that, the Kalyana is not only for only 1 day, 2 day, not good, not the benefit only for you for 1 day, 2 day, or 1 week, but the spiritual friend or Kalyana or good friend or Dhamma friend, it is very important to you for whole life, not only 1 day, 2 day, but important for whole life. So this is the capacity of the Sangha. Without the Sangha, no Kalyana. Because of the Sangha, even the conventional Sangha or Arya Sangha, whatever, we still had Kalyana. Without Sangha, no Kalyana. I can say that. You might have only couple of friends to help you, but if you come to join the Sangha in the spiritual community, you will have more and more Kalyana or spiritual friend or Dharma friend. So lastly, I will introduce some book, and next time, because I introduce first about the Sangha from the Tibetan point of view, Tibetan Buddhism point of view, and next time I will choose some part of this book and this book, and to read for you to understand it. And for this book, we call that book is mentioned about the study and practice of meditation, and this study showing that the source or the result from the Theravada side and from the Mahayana side too, and we can learn in comparative study. It's very important. Right? So actually, this book mentioned about Gelugpa. Before I try to translate and share to audience already, to all people already, but still have many pages to read and to finish. And that written by American scholar. And also this one also is very important. I brought from Thailand, both our book that I brought from Thailand, and this book that mention about the Tibetan, the relationship between master and student. Let's see, the master come from Asian. They may grow from different culture, different tradition, because the student from the Western, from the Western, and sometimes become a gap, the Western people or Western student, they may not understand something that the master say that. So this book is very good to clarify, to make you understand how to about the relationship between master and student from another area, another world, Especially for now, Buddhism grow and more popular to the Western society, coming up, and increasing, growing up. Many American people, many, Western people, lovely to study and practice about Buddhism. Okay, today I stop now and let's chant a little bit for the final teaching. And first of all, thank you so much for lay practitioners, Ubashok, Ubasika, or may have some monk friend come to watching me, and I'm really sorry if my English not so strong. I try to improve and practicing. And again, thank you so much. Bhavatu sappha manghalang rakhantu sappha devata sappha buddha anubhavena sappha dhamma anubhavena sappha sangha anubhavena satha soti bhavan tu te